It is coming up now on 8:14 on Acadiana's Morning News as the KPEL Candidate Series continues today. And we're talking today, State Representative District 45 candidate Rhonda Gleason joining us in studio this morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Bernadette Lee. Bernadette Lee. Can I say it like you do?
Yes.
I'm Bernadette Lee.
Okay, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to record it.
Yes.
So that way, when somebody's like, hey, can you do it? Like, not on the spot. It's weird. People are like, hey, you don't sound the same. And I'm like, I know. And all these years, I've never been able to figure it out.
It's almost like you sing it, Bernster. I'm telling you. Like it's music
It's melodic.
almost, and you don't even know it.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
It's strange.
Yeah.
It's strange. Well, Rhonda, welcome into the show, and thanks for joining us.
I appreciate the
Today.
invitation. It's
Yeah.
good to see my
Yeah, I know.
upperclassmen.
Yeah.
Well, I know.
Chad, yeah.
Well, Bernie went, she's a Acadiana alumni also.
Yes.
She's a year before me.
So what year were you?
92.
92,
91, and 90. Bam.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my
amazing.
God, the trifecta's here.
Here we go.
Rams in the house.
That's right.
Order.
I saw Jan Richard last night.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Mayor,
Sorry
so.
about that. No, I'm joking. Sorry, Jan. That's a joke.
Right.
I
We
like
saw him last night
Jan.
at Dino's.
Yeah, he's a great
Oh
guy.
my gosh. And it's so funny because, wait a minute, we're supposed to be grown-up adult people.
No, we're not.
But then we go old school. It's hilarious.
I never transitioned.
You never did,
to
huh?
adult.
You're
Nope.
like, no way.
Nope.
Uh-huh.
You look
Everything-
basically the same.
Yeah. Thank you so
Basically
much
the
for
same.
that.
He does. He looks
Still as tall
exactly
as
the
you were
same.
playing basketball.
Yeah.
But you lost a little height from the top.
Yeah, but that's okay. I always say that. Like, I'm not the weird ball guy because I think I'm better looking
No,
bald.
I think you do. You wear it
I'm
well.
hot.
Well, see, there you go.
Thank you.
And
You
like
go, you go good topless.
Good.
Yeah, there you go. See? Like I always like to say about myself, I'm twice the woman I used to be. Literally and figuratively.
I like
so there
that
you
you
go.
own that, Bernster.
Right? All right. So
All right, let's
y'all,
go.
Yeah, we can't gobble up my time. I got
No,
I
that's
got
right.
stuff to
Let's get it.
say.
All right.
That's
Let's
right.
Start over. Ready, go.
So Rhonda, for those who are listening, why don't you tell them a little bit about yourself and
Okay.
and who you are so they can get to know you.
Sure. Well, so I am a teacher in Lafayette. I actually, as we all know, went to Acadiana High School. I grew up in St. Landry Parish and went to a little Catholic school, St. Ignatius.
Mhm.
And then I and eventually got back to Lafayette, little sidetrack to Chicago, which was really interesting. But that was one of the benefits of having a separation. Your parents. I mean, it's
Yeah,
hard,
right.
but then you get to kind of learn some interesting things.
Yeah.
So then I came back to Lafayette, went to Edgar Martin for a year, graduated from Acadiana, went to UL. I did go grab a master's degree at Northwestern.
Nice.
And I'm back in Lafayette. I was an administrator and teacher at Louisiana School in Natchitoches,
Uh-huh.
and I've been teaching for the community college system for the last 13 years.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you've been
And
back.
But my claim to fame
Yeah.
is my 3 children. So
Oh, that's
all of that
sweet.
is just on the side.
Yeah.
The main dish is the 3 kids. My son Dylan, he's in the Air Force. He's a 4th generation Air Force
Oh my
in our
gosh.
family.
That's right.
Wow.
Grandfather, dad, brother, son.
my
Grandfather
goodness.
was the commander of the Air Force ROTC at UL or
Mhm.
USL, and he was the director of education there. Dad
Mm-hmm.
decided to go to Lafayette instead of New Orleans for graduate school after the Air Force,
Mhm.
and Grandpa said, "We'll come to Lafayette. Family's here." So we all came down to Lafayette, and then here we go. And this is
Wow.
where I am now. Yeah.
How do you juggle it all? Gosh.
Right. But
Okay.
we all do it. A lot of us do. This is the everyday family.
Oh, yeah.
This is the
Yeah.
the idyllic, kind of what I had at the start. The mother was at home. We built this
Mhm.
house out in Hidden Hills. I mean, really, it was magical.
Mhm.
But there were real stresses in our lives,
Mhm.
and so life changes. But these days, the norm is a lot of those changes at the onset
Mhm.
because we've gotten kind of in a cycle of these issues.
Sure.
And we need to get out of that cycle.
Mhm.
And that's sort of the impetus of why I'm here now.
Well, and that leads into the question that we love to ask first, and it's why do this?
Right.
People who are putting themselves up for political office. It's so much time. There's the canvassing, the public attention.
Yes.
So why and why now for you?
Well, number one, just to go backwards from your point, the canvassing is the best part. It's the hardest part, but it is the best part.
We've heard that from so many people.
So many
Yes.
people say that. And
Yes.
if you've never done it, you don't think that.
Yes,
Right?
it is hard as heck. But we plant ourselves in areas and we move out from our center point.
Mhm.
It's almost like a basketball strategy, and then we drive the line, and then we
Mhm.
spread out. But my favorite thing is reaching people and talking with them, of course. And then I have to get pulled by my friends and say, okay, we have to go to the next
We have to go to
house.
the next one, right?
Yeah, but I want to hear all the details because that's in my nature as an educator. And my bachelor's is in English, so I'm a communicator by nature, and then my master's is in art history. So the reason why we do things, art is not just painting and drawing; it's the why, which is why we're
Absolutely.
here.
Yeah.
It's analyzing, it's really thinking deeper, and so that's the way my mind has been my whole life. Plus, I have an interesting perspective being a first generation American on my mother's side. My
Wow.
mother is from Korea,
Mhm.
and so we had a very interesting narrative growing up in our home. And so and with a tough, drill sergeant dad, but we
Well,
love him.
right,
We love
right,
him.
We love
right.
them.
We love him. But it was like, that formed a sense of discipline. And oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm glad that my dad didn't give me handouts. Oh my God. Because he always said, you're going to do this, you're going to earn these stripes basically. And that's what I did. And it was not an easy path because I'm kind of a stubborn person. So that's how I really developed my grit.
Yeah.
And then I picked up multiple sclerosis on the way.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been blind. I've been paralyzed from the waist down. I still have paralysis from my neck to my upper legs.
So you have the intermittent?
No,
You have the
I have the second level MS.
wow.
So, but it's really, I have fantastic health care,
Uh-huh.
which is another issue of mine.
Mhm.
I have fantastic communications with a specialist in New Orleans
Mhm.
who works with my doctor here in
So
Lafayette.
you got a team.
I
Yeah.
have a team. And speaking of teams and sports
Mhm.
and things, we need to be a team for one another.
Mhm.
And that's how I got to do the things I've done. I've got a son who was a gifted student and a brilliant athlete, and he lettered in cross country and track, never wanted to touch a basketball. I bought him the nicest basketball goal,
No
but
go.
no goal. And then my daughter is, she finished 8th grade at Paul Bro with 8 high school credits. And she's gifted and
Amazing.
talented.
That's
She's
awesome.
fluent in French. And now I've got a younger one who's 6 going on 7. She's taking advantage of French immersion. She's probably going to be noted. She's a smart one too. So I'm doing these things as a single mother. I'm co-parenting with one parent. I have two ex-husbands. But I'm doing it on my own.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I am the norm.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mhm.
I want my story to be the norm. If people's lives are not like cookie cutter, beautiful, everything works out, because
Nobody's life is.
nobody's life, yeah.
Nobody
No.
does.
But we look at one another and we think, oh, is that the
Oh, it must be so
measure?
easy for that person. And
Right.
Yeah. How come I don't do all
Right.
this stuff? Or yeah,
Exactly.
we do that. We
So I
absolutely
want to
do
say,
it.
no, let's talk about what real life is.
Mhm.
So when I'm out canvassing, I'm talking about real life issues with everyday people.
Mhm.
And, I have issues when we're trying to do criminal justice reform
Mhm.
and we meet at impasses when we're trying to build up at-risk communities. And like my friend Vincent Pierre, we have the Ban the Box that fortunately passed, wherein if you want to go to college, you're not discriminated because maybe you had to do a little bit of redirection time, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
That should not prevent you. But so he removed that, and unfortunately, there were quite a few folks in Baton Rouge who, for one reason or another, thought that their constituents wanted to prevent that from happening.
Mhm.
And I don't think that's what the constituency wants. I think the constituency wants neighbors who are thriving.
Mhm.
And those neighbors who are thriving need support at the legislative level.
Mhm. What do you think you want to go there to do in terms of some of obviously healthcare is big for you, schools and kids, and education? I mean, obviously, what do you want to accomplish though if elected? I mean, what would be some of maybe the two top things that you think? Okay, I got to get in there and work for these things right away.
Okay. Well, our urgent issues in our community, I believe that they do have to do with economic opportunity.
Mhm.
Had a really fantastic meeting with one Acadiana, learning the ins and outs there. I'm a little bit biased because I'm on the one end in terms of education, healthcare, but I have become over the last 7 years advocating at the Capitol, very learned about the bigger picture issues. So we need to come together. We need to talk about economic prosperity in our communities. We need to talk about real infrastructure issues, which includes our public school system and threats to our public school system. We
Mhm.
need to talk about our physical infrastructure. We need to talk about flooding and floodplains. We need to talk about these things. But what I don't want is to have constant impasse because we don't agree with someone at the top of the Capitol. That team of no kind of attitude cannot happen. That is petulant, and we have to get beyond that.
But as politicians, right? I mean, and it's both
How
sides.
dare you? How dare you, Bernadette? I'm sitting here looking to be a politician, and you called me petulant. You bounced it
That's
right.
why I asked you
Well.
why.
I know. Whatever you say to me bounces off me. Right.
Yes.
You just did that to me.
Right?
Thank you. Look, I'll be back here as a legislator, and you'll see. My record will be clean. I will be working for our community. I will be holding those same values that my dad held and taught me. I mean, generations long. And that's my goal. And I'm not going to receive, or if some check comes into my mailbox from somebody, a little taste of something, I'm going to put return to sender. I'm going to put it right back in the mailbox. I am not someone who's going to run and have no narrow interests. My interests are broad. They are for my community.
So you don't want to be beholden.
I am
to
not
anyone.
beholden to anyone except the people who vote for me. I'm in District 45. I'm 3 generations deep in District 45. The last woman elected in District 45 was Kathleen Babineau-Blanco. I respect her values. They are so remarkably similar to mine. The strange thing is she was actually buried at St. Charles Church at St. Ignatius. And I thought, man, I mean, I'm not, she's inspiring even now still. And so we haven't had a Democrat in our district run in quite a while. I think it was 2004. And I'm not a partisan leaning person, but I have to pick a team. You always have to pick a team.
Sure. Yeah.
And you play that team out the best you can. I have friends who are very progressive minded, and they want me to just be to the hilt, like be this way. And I get their point of view. And I have friends on the other end. They're like, why aren't you more like this? And I get that point of view. But as a teacher and a mother, we are a mom, we are a teacher, I'm a Democrat, whatever. But the work that I do is not, it's driven by a certain goal. So that's the partisan thing. I don't like it so much. I just don't like it so much.
We have to wrap up for time, and we always give the final 30 seconds for kind of that, I'm knocking on your door kind of speech.
Oh, yes, the elevator pitch.
Yeah, really.
Okay, well, I could say go Rams, but that's a little
Yeah.
old.
Done.
Let's see. Well, I know that they're playing Karen Crow, I think, this weekend.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, at
Ooh.
Karen Crow. I learned that yesterday.
Oh,
I'm always
man.
learning. Look, research me. Look me up on Facebook. I'm very transparent. I am very honest. I'm a very deliberate person in my drive and in my goals. I want to represent District 45, and District 45 is very diverse, and I appreciate diversity. Diversity is what brings us together. I'm a sort of an adopted Cajun. I had a Cajun step grandmother. I was brought up in the heart of Acadiana, and I identify with this community. But I also have the good fortune of having a different perspective, and so I want to bring all those strengths to represent not only 45 but Lafayette. But when you are a representative, you are on committees that reach all 64 parishes.
Absolutely.
And I have seen all 64 parishes when I was working at Louisiana School. I know what the state looks like. So I'm there to represent the district, but also to do what's best for the state of Louisiana.
Rhonda Gleason is a candidate for State House District number 45. Thank you for your time today.
Appreciate you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
It's coming up now on 8:29. On the way, we'll have another look at headline news. That's coming up next on KPEL.